Hey guys, this is what's happening on Chickamauga. Hey guys, Scott Patton here, and I've got what's happening on Chickamauga. And I know it's been just a little bit since I've done one of these, but I'm telling you, the fishing's been somewhat pretty tough down here. If any of you have been down here, you know that's true. There's been some days we've had better than others, but overall it's been a grind down here. But we've just kept on having warm weather, and then it get cool off. Never really got cold, then it get warm weather, then it cool off, and it's just been up down so much. And then on top of it, they've been dropping our lake down. It's probably right at winter pool right now, guys. So if you're coming down here, you want to make sure you stay in those channels. You get out of them, be careful, because the water's low. But anyways, here's what I've got going on. The bite's getting better right now, and I think we got a lot of really good fishing going on, getting ready to happen for us. We've been having a lot more bites on a frog. That's what everybody's looking for down here. I haven't had a lot of other topwater bites. It seems like these fish are moving in the grass. There's a lot of shad in them and stuff like that. I have not, and I know there's bluegill in them, but I have not heard that popping, that sucking noise that you hear usually when they're in there real good. But we've really had some cool weather. We're gonna have a really cold night tonight, and it looks like it's gonna cool off and stay that way. So finally it's gonna turn into a true fall. But we're probably pretty much jumping into a early fall all the way to more of a mid-fall or later, because we just didn't get a lot of those temperatures that I would normally like to have, a high around 65, 70 and lows around 30. But we're going to be in that ballpark, from here on out, especially this week. The cold front, the first hit of this cold front the next couple of days probably make it a little bit tough. The fish bit real good yesterday on a frog. We had a good cloudy, had wind, all the ingredients you need to make a good bite. But the front's already, it's passing through right now. It's probably going to clear off, and it's still cloudy out there today. It's going to clear off and get cold tonight. And like I say, it's probably going to be tough in the next couple of days, you guys. But it should be getting those bluegill into those mats real good and just putting more fish into them. Now, a lot of areas, a lot of the grass is already, died out, and, where we ain't got mats, they may be submerged, but it's not matted up. But because they've dropped the water, it created more mats in some of the areas. So you're going to want to scout around, look for the mats, and keep fishing until you get bit. And I've not been fishing my frog fast. I see some guys out there fishing that frog really fast. I don't normally a whole lot of times fish my frog real fast. I'll fish it as super slow. There's times you can move a little bit faster than others, but you got to be able to let that fish, especially in these real thick mats, the ones I really like to fish. You gotta let that fish be able to detect that frog up there, zoom in on it and explode on it and eat it. If you're moving it too fast, and you may not be giving that fish that opportunity to eat that frog, and you may be pulling away from fish you would have maybe caught. So don't fish that frog too fast, you guys. I'll twitch a lot of times, make it just kind of walk back and forth a little bit. I mean, little bitty twitches, like, and let it set, twitch it like that. And you gotta play with you gotta play with it, you guys, and see how aggressive these fish are, and what it'll take to get them to eat it. So I'm gonna jump into the frog fish first. I've been catching some fish some other ways. As far as my setup, I throw it on 50-pound test Seaguar braid. It's not been one particular frog that has been best. I've got 100 frogs in here probably, but I've caught them on popping frogs, and I've caught them on just the regular, like a spro frog like this right here. From anywhere from a shad colors to your blacks and stuff like that. This is a real good color. I catch a lot of fish down here on this. I've got it rigged up on a lose reel, and I got a fairly high speed. I believe this is a 7-to-1 ratio. And I've got it on my 7.7 pow flipping stick. This is my endurance rod, a great rod. It's got a good backbone to it, with that 50-pound test braid. I can still cast it a little bit further with that 50 versus 65. I can get up there, way up there next to that bank. Sometimes these mats are hard. I try not to get in them if I don't have to. I'd rather not disturb them, that way they stay here longer, because when you start getting a bunch of boats going in and out of there, I'm sure the crowd's going to start getting down here. When everybody's going through them, it chews up that grass, and next thing you know, we've got a lot of our grass is going to drift away because they are pulling water, and the current's going to wash it out of there. So try to stay out of the mats if you can. I know you can't always do that. There's times where I have to get in there, and there's going to be guys, like I said, there's going to be people fishing the same water. If you can, try to stay in the trails that's already been created. Not create no more new trails if you don't have to, you guys. Like I say, the key is to try to keep that grass on the mats as long as we can to keep this bite going, okay? So, and I've been throwing popping frogs too, and you're going to have to, play with it. Like I said, this bite is really just now starting to get going. I've been throwing this spro popping frog. We've had several fish on it too. Just more of a bluegill shad pattern like that. The blacks and whites and some of the crazy colors that they make too can really draw some good bites too. So, make sure you experiment with your frogs, experiment with the retrieve, you guys. And I'm talking about, don't fish that thing too fast. Most of the time, I see guys out there fishing it way too fast. They're moving it too much, and they're not getting the bites that I am. You want to just finesse that frog across that grass, let it sit there. Last year I had a guy actually throw out there, and he backlashed, and it was probably wasn't 15, 20 feet from the boat, and we told him to fish on a real thick mat, and he's sitting there trying to get that backlash out, and I bet he worked on that thing for two or 3 minutes, and he's sitting there picking it out, and I power pole down holding there, and I tell you what, a 5.5 pounder sit there and just crush that thing, and I'm telling you, that frog, he didn't move for daggone, like I said, 2 or 3 minutes. So just because you're throwing that frog up there don't mean they're going to be super aggressive wanting to eat it. Sometimes you just got to entice them and make them mad because that thing is there and they can't stand it anymore, and they'll crush it. So key is, throw it on braid, throw it on a stiff rod, and don't overfish the frog. Move it real slow. Try different retrieves and see what they'll eat. And also, I'm telling you, especially like more on windier days, and some days if you're in that real thick mat, that popping frog makes it look, and I'm not trying to pop that thing or spraying like a pawpaw or nothing. I'm just using that thing to make more movement, you guys. I'm not, like I said, just because it's a popping frog, you can, if you throw one of each out there, you can see the difference that popping frog will make versus the standard frog, because it'll move more water with just a little bit of movement, okay? So sometimes they want that, sometimes they want the more subtle frog. So again, experiment, keep your mind open and see what it takes to get those fish to bite. Sometimes when things are all the way up on the dirt, you got to cast all the way to the bank to get these fish, depending on how, with the grass mat you're fishing, these fish could be halfway in between. But I've found over the years of frog fishing that a lot of times you'll find those fish within about a 10, 15 yard area from the bank, or where you're fishing. It could be a ditch or something in there. There's a lot of ridges and stuff up on these flats and stuff a lot of guys don't know about, and there's ditches in them too that some guys don't know about too. So a lot of times those are key factors in order to get the bigger fish and get more bites. All right. So again, a frog isn't the only thing I've been catching them on. I've still been catching them on my jackhammer, just something shad pattern. I've been throwing mostly a gold blade. A lot of the water where I was catching these fish in the back of the creeks, they've moved out more closer to the mouth of the creeks and stuff like that. The submerged grass is where I've been fishing them. I'm looking on my depth finders and my active targets where I can see those patches of grass and stuff like that, and I'll throw to them and I'll fishing it fairly slow. You'll see a lot of bait, you guys, in that 2 to 4 foot, up on that 2 to 4 foot of water up in those flats and stuff like that. That's where that chatterbait's been good. It seems like it's taking some wind or some cloud cover to really get a good bite on this. And we just gotta find that. And the water's, because they've been pulling a lot of water, there's a lot of dirt on the grass. So when they're pulling water, it's pulling that grass, that dirt off in that water, so it's staining up some of this water. Some of this water may have been real clear, okay? And it's because they wasn't pulling much water, but they've been dropping the lake fairly fast. And a lot of this water where if you've been up here and then you come back to it and you say, wow, this water's really dirtied up in here now, it's because of the current washing that dirt off from that grass, because that grass acts as a filter. Any of you that's been there fishing, you pull that up on your solo motor or stuff like that, you can see all the dirt. I mean, it's just dirt that actually gets on your boat and on your screens, on your dip finder and stuff, because like I said, that grass is a filter. All right, so another bait that I've been catching fish on, and it usually always comes into play in November, is a spinner bait. I've always used these little turtle shell blades down here real good. I can fish it fairly slow. I haven't gone to, the water, like I said, the water's starting to, a lot of this water really stained up, but we ain't had the wind that we needed to get a real good bite on the spinner bait, but it's happening. And those windy days is when I really love that spinner bait. And I've caught fish on it. So it's just been mostly a white spinner bait with the nickel blades, and even with the gold blades we've had fish. So that's been working too. Keep that in your arsenal. And I'm fishing this out in front of the mats and stuff like that, guys, along creek channel edges and stuff like that, going back to some of these creeks, little channel banks and stuff like that. So that's spinner bait, and I'm throwing it on my 7-foot endurance. I always forget the number of that rod. It is the 705. I don't know why I keep forgetting that. But anyhow, it's my favorite rod that they've got out there. I love all the rods. But anyways, throwing it on, I got this on 17-pound test fluorocarbon, Seaguar fluorocarbon. And like I said, you can get away with it with 20 if that's what you want to fish. I really like throwing that spinner bait even up on them real shallow flats around a piece of wood or something. I might see isolated wood or something like that. But that's something I keep tight on, especially if the wind's blowing for you. You'll be able to catch fish on spinnerbait down here all through November down here on Chickamauga, you guys. Another lure is the buzzbait. It's been catching fish too. It's been hit or miss on this daggone buzzbait. There's still some fish schooling, and I'm still seeing these fish schooling on some of these flats and back some of these creeks and stuff like that. It's kind of run around, and if that happens for you, then that buzz bait seems like something I can get some bites on. And there's days where I think they're just pulling on their tail, pulling it under and stuff like that, they're not eating it good. But again, a little chop seems to really go a long ways on that buzz bait. I get it fishing it real slow on top of the water, as slow as I can to keep that blade up on top. I've thrown a whopper plopper, and I thought they, especially them schooling fish, eat that little whopper plopper a lot. I haven't had any reaction onto it. I don't know because the water's still been a little bit too warm. It's been pushing about 70 degrees. It's going to drop, you guys, so it's going to really it's going to be changing. And so that whopper plopper could be something to keep in mind if you're still seeing fish chasing bait and all that good stuff. But anyways, the buzz bait, something I've got tied on and will keep tied on for at least a couple more weeks, you guys. One last thing I'm going to talk about, and I haven't really got to do it a lot, but I know I've talked to some of my buddies and stuff, they've done it. And I've had some guys in a boat where they'll get up front and I'll get in the back and they just kind of take over, and one of them like to flip or something like that. But that flip and bite, you can still catch several fish flipping. They seem to be real aggressive. Whether you're flipping around the patch of grass or flipping lay downs and stuff, got grass around them, stuff like that. It's more sparse grass. But that flip and bite's there. You know, a beaver style bait, you know, a straight king raised bug is worked good, or a jig is worked good too. But if you like to fish that way, you could come down here and probably flip and throw a frog around and have a good day down here. Just cover a lot of water. That's about it for right now, guys. I've got a lot of days open in November. It's usually, you know, it's really going, or November is probably going to fish like our mid-October should be fishing, because the water's been so warm. I really think the big fish are going to start moving up. I've seen some of the other guys, they've been catching some good fish and stuff like that, but I think right now it's going to be when we're going to start catching our big fish. You know, if you can get down here and go fishing, if you want to book a trip, contact me. My number and information's all on here. You guys have good fishing to you. I appreciate all you guys that's been following me. You know, like and share and subscribe for me, guys. I appreciate that too. And it's good seeing all you guys in the parking lot, or whether I'm at Walmart out to eat. It's good seeing you guys, talking to you guys. All right. Good fishing, and until next time, I'll talk to you then.